days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.
While I appreciate the democratization of media, I also don't appreciate where we are right now. And I just don't believe that there was anybody at NABJ equipped to have the kind of conversation that they needed to have, or maybe they just weren't listening, or maybe they're so concerned about the function of running a nonprofit and making sure that there's profit in the nonprofit that maybe they couldn't be talked to. And that's a whole other issue that we need to come together and discuss, which we should partially today. It's Thrive Thursday. What do we demand of our institutions? What's our responsibility? Some of you, you donate to the NAACP and the Urban League, and you have them on automatic, and you tithe at your church. Is there a responsibility? Let me put tithe over there, because you're actually not tithing to the church. Tithing is something different, but should you think about where you tithe? Should that church be not a dead church? Should that church actually be in the community doing things? Should that church, if you're going to tithe and put into the building fund or whatever, should there not be works and deeds in that church's, not just in their bylaws, but in their actions? Should the faith without deeds be foolish, is what I guess I'm asking. And is your money foolish going to these places that aren't producing? Or is this just for you a checklist so that you feel like, well, I donated? But I feel like we should examine everybody. And I love that this opportunity has happened. So we're going to talk a little NABJ today. As I was talking with Smith before we came on, I think Trump took this as a way that he thought it was a flex, a dig at Kamala Harris. He has no respect for black people anyway. He was going to come there and piss and crap and smell up the joint, like as he does every place he goes, because he doesn't care. And you're not his audience. And the ones that are the black people that will vote for him, they don't like other black people anyway. So, and they think people like April Ryan and Jamel Hill are menaces, and Joanne Reed, they think that they're unqualified, and DEI hires the black people who follow him. So he didn't have a downside until he did. And what the downside is energizing people who may have even sat on the couch, not the couch that his vice presidential pick has soiled, but the couch that would say, I'm not voting. He may have gotten people off the couch. Listening, I played a clip this week from a pastor who was probably not going to endorse Kamala Harris. But for the horrible way in which he's being treated, he was like, I can't let this sister be out here like this, getting it. No, and I'm going to sit home. No. And I'm going to use my pulpit to talk about it and hopefully rally people. This is the factor, the X factor, that I don't think that they had, the Trump administration had the ability to even examine, because they don't have anyone on their team that understands things. So when he talks about her blackness, no one there understands. No one. And I venture to say, because every time I ask a so-called white person what makes them white, they start stumbling because they've never had to consider it. I venture to say most people in this country don't even understand race. They don't understand the 3/5 compromise. They don't understand the 1-drop rule. They don't understand, how, Cowrie Lake or Bob Barr or some other people could actually, Plessy from Plessy versus Ferguson could appear to be white, but not actually be white under the law, because they don't understand the complexity of it, and how Kamala Harris, who may not have a drop of African descendant of slave blood in her, but is absolutely black. And the question is always, can you get a cab? Can you get a cab in New York? How do the police view you? Did Amadou Diallo get to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm not black, I'm African? Hey, Patrick Dorsman, when he was being shot by police 40 times, hey, wait a minute, I'm not black, I'm African. Did both and John get to put up a church figure and say, wait, I'm Haitian, not black? What are you doing? What do y'all got to get your people together? Watching the Olympics, it was so funny. People were twisting themselves into pretzels. The commentator said, watching Simone Biles and them. And shout out to the GOAT. We're gonna get to that in a second. She won the overall gold, and it was amazing. Although I've seen more slips and flips and falls and trips and stuff that I've never seen in my entire life watching the Olympics. People are not ready for the Olympics, but I would say less about that. Falling off of beams and stuff. I was like, what is happening? Didn't y'all practice for 4 years? China falling off stuff. I said, oh shoot. Anyway, the announcer said about this young lady from Algeria. Her last name is Nemour. She almost medaled. They said, oh, for the first time an African will medal. It'll be the first African to medal. And I blinked because I was like, Simone Biles has a word. Oh, and Rebecca Andrade. Learned how to say her name. Taurus. Rebecca Andrade has a word. She's got a church finger from Brazil. It's the first African to medal. I was like, y'all, you said that with your full chest? Y'all don't get it. This made-up construct of race has galvanized the entire globe around this made-up construct of race as it relates to people who are Black. We saw it with the summer of George Floyd. People all over the globe were like, oh, no, hell no. No. Yeah, we were all Black that day. And we're all Black today, all of us. 866-801-8255. So everything seems to be backfiring. And I appreciate it. The very thing that Trump was banking on, his man Putin, holding out the way Reagan and them got Jimmy Carter up out the paint, telling them, hey, hold them hostages. Let me be the one to take credit. Reagan did that. Poor Jimmy Carter. I know that Trump had this conversation and Putin was like, nah, I'm good because I don't think you're going to win. This is what it feels like to me, and I don't know what you think. 866-801-8255. I don't have any inside knowledge, but the machinations of people, the movements telling me that Putin is hedging his bets and like I might have to deal with this Harris-Biden construct. And I don't think Trump's going to win. So what you got, a deal on the table? Okay, let's make a deal. Monty Hall in the House today. Today, the Russians gave up several American and American-adjacent hostages, prisoners, as part of a prisoner exchange with the United States, Germany, and 3 other countries. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, U.S. Marine veteran Paul Whelan, who many of y'all were arguing, not y'all, not us, them, arguing, oh, we'd rather have Paul Whelan than that Brittany Griner. Why would they let the soldier, dishonorably discharged, soldier stay in Russia and we get this basketball player that we're not even sure about? Well, he's now the U.S. Marine vet coming home, as well as also Kurmasheva, Russian-American radio journalist, another journalist, were among 24 prisoners in Russia being released in exchange for Russian nationals.
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow.